Okay. I think this should work because it's all bad and horrible quality, so it should work. What if this chair broke? Oh my god. I would love that if this chair just like went and it just like totally broke right while I was live. That would be great. Then I could clip that forever. Anyways, I don't even know what I was saying. I think I was talking about like emotions. I should probably wait a little bit. I should probably wait a little bit for people to come back in. But yeah, I'm crazy. No, it's weird to have your passion back or your feelings back. And then being old. No, I'm not old. I don't feel like I'm old. Hello, bot. You're back. It's good to have you back. But yeah, I hate that the internet died on me, but of course it would. But you know what? You got to try it. And I guess with my sacral opening, I'm like, let's just try it out or like see how it goes or you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Let's be flexible. I know. You always are though. How have you been, by the way, but since you're first and I can just ask you while we're waiting for some people to get here. Oh my gosh. I see. I don't You're great, good. I don't feel like that, I don't know if I feel restless or excited. It's weird. I'm like, I don't know what this is. Just go wild. I need to go wild again. I miss those days. I miss my crazy days. But no, I think what I was trying to say in the other one is just like the vanity era, it's like I did it in a way that was so difficult and so arduous, and I didn't necessarily, like, plan it that way. It just kinda happened because it's like I got back from LA in August in, 2025, and I went super hardcore into the Lana era, and I was fine until September, and then September, I was like, "Oh my god, this is so miserable." And then I was complaining all the time. And then a lot of people were like, "Ew." No, I'm just kidding. They weren't saying ew, but they were just like, you know? And then, but some people related because it's tough. It's real tough. And then it's like, then I started reverse dye in October because I had to. I was like, I can't take this anymore. So then I reverse dyed, and then I got anhedonia from that. And then it was still really bad in January. And then I went back into a CalDef in February, which I'm like, seasonally, that is so ugly to do. And then that was horrible. And then I reversed that. And then I had anhedonia again. And then now here I am. Now I'm like spit out on the other side. And I'm like, and then now it's the solstice. So it's still a little bit, it's a little tricky just because it's like, it makes your CalDef a little deeper because it's like intense, which I'm fine. But it's like, gosh, I really made this like one of the hardest years ever. Like, I don't know why I did that because the way I timed everything, it's like I just made it so difficult for myself for some reason. But now it should be really easy. So now moving forward, it's like, okay, you know, because I think by August it should really be clearing up. And August and beyond, it should just get easier and easier, basically. It might get a little hard again in the winter, but I don't think it'll be bad at all. So it's like, oh, and then I'm pretty much, at least according to my app, I should be like about at my goal weight like in a year. So by like next June, I should be pretty much there, but it'll be so easy. So it's kind of like I front loaded all of the difficulty in this past year. And so now the second year of that vanity journey will be really easy. So it's kind of like making it so hard, so now it'll be so easy in the second part, and then the second part is when I'll get all the benefit, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's when I'll really look better," and then everyone will be like, "Oh my gosh." Because I don't know, it's when you do body comp, you don't get that far, like, fast at all. It's, like, very, I don't know, it's just painful. I don't know, but that's why everybody's like, "You should just cut and then bulk and then cut and then bulk," and I'm like, "It takes just as long, though." Like, so I don't see it as, like, better, you know? But I guess people don't wanna go through what I went through, which was, like, a whole lot of shit for a whole lot of nothing, basically, this past year. So it's like, yikes. So I guess I get why people don't wanna do that, but, I focus on other things, spiritual things, emotions, that crap, getting a framework, getting footing. Like, I guess we can all use a little lull era or a boring era or like a stomp down era sometimes because I just couldn't do that much, because it was hard. I don't know. But I don't know, you guys. Vanity is something else. Like, I try to warn y'all, I really do. Because when you go on Instagram and stuff, people are just like, they act like it's so easy. They're like, "It was amazing for me. It's just nothing, blah, blah, blah." And it's like, I think a lot of why people act so weird when they're doing like Instagram reels and stuff, or like when they're on that, it's because it's so hard. So for those of you guys who haven't done that, maybe that gives you some clarity, because it's really tough. It's super tough. So that's my thoughts anyway. Because for me, like I think like in May, I was having these moments where I'd be like, was it even worth it? What was the point? Like you start to think that way because it's that hard. And then for me, I just really mainly focused on body comp, especially after the Lana era. And it's so slow. And it's like you feel like nothing's happening. And so then it's like, gosh, this is really hard for nothing to happen. And that's kind of what it feels like. But like I said, it should be really easy for me now. So then now everyone will be like, "Wow, it's just so easy for you. You're so privileged." Like they'll kind of be like that probably in the next year. I'm envisioning. I'm seeing the future. I'm fortune telling. I have my witch hat on. Yeah, body comp like the last bit of weight and gaining muscle. Yeah. Oh wow, that's well. Congrats, I guess, Spot, on the downsizing. Um, but yeah, I'm just like, let's do this. Yeah, it is so slow. Again, I'm horrible with you. I always am so nervous about saying usernames, but Shay, I'm so nervous. But yes, body recomp it is so slow. But I think for what I was saying earlier is just I'm not really a like bulk cut type because especially with the way my brain is and like I get all moody and it's just a lot. It's a lot. It's so much better for me to just stay the same calorically. So I think it'll be a lot easier for me because that's probably why I'm live because I'm not shifting all the time, because it would make me really moody and I would be nervous about being live. I'd be like, "Oh gosh," Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know. I'll say it again because I probably won't leave up the other stream because it like flopped. But Um, I'm having so my basic amount is 27, another random number, 00. So, basically around there. So I'm 6'1". I guess I can spill the weight tea, I don't really care. So I weigh about 215-ish, maybe a little less, like maybe 213, like somewhere around there. And then the maintenance is for a 175. So it is a CalDEF, but it's like 250. Gosh, I'm so nervous about saying anything because of freaking YouTube. But yeah, I'm 6'1", and then I'm super active. So, and then the solstice is solsticing. So it's still pretty much a thing. But like I'm definitely still in a CalDEF, but it's light and easy. So this is actually like a really easy one. This is very Kesha era style. This is very easy because like as far as like the diet, it's so easy. Obviously for me, that's easy. So the procedure of it isn't that hard. The workouts are still really hard though. Like that part sucks. And then you don't have progress on the scale at all because you're doing body comp. So you do stay the same, but you do change, but it's just literally so glacial that you just like I don't know. It's like I said, I was like having doubts in May where I was like, I don't know why the hell I did this. I'm like, why did I do this? That's what I was thinking. So you start to get into that mode too. So you can't be too negative. Like I am a negative Nelly or I have been, but you can't be too negative. So you just have to think like if you did bulk then cut or cut then bulk, then it's the same amount of time. But some people like to see more of a visual transformation because that's more motivating for them. But for me, I don't care. And I'd rather have the stability of what I'm doing because for me as an emotional girly pop, I have to manage my moods and stuff all the time, or like I have to manage mood. And then I have like my online presence and whatnot where I'm pretty active like all the time. So it's like I really have to manage my mood. Like that took a lot to do, which I have talked about on the channel to high hell, but it's like 'cause I don't think people ever consider like if you are a super emotional person, like it is hard to like be stable all the time. You know what I mean? And I think people like especially because especially when you're downsizing as long as I've been, people don't and then on social media, they don't take it into consideration. So they're not like, "Oh, he's in a CalDEF, so maybe he's moody because of that." They're just like, "He's just a bitch." So people are just very judgmental, and I do think that would happen in real life too, or like with people you know. People will not give you any grace at all. So they're just like, "Whatever, da 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 da." Even if I was doing it for my health, which I was, for most of it, people don't really give you grace at all. And then people will consider you that you're doing it for vanity, even if you're like way overweight still. So there's like a judgment there. So it's like there's no grace, there's nothing. And in some cases, like when I was mid, it's like you have people actively challenging you all the time or like really doing shit like that. But I don't have that anymore. but um But yeah, I think for me, that was a huge problem for me or like a barrier where it's like, if I'm adjusting everything all the time, then I'm moodier and then I don't know, or like I have to put so much effort into controlling it as much as I could, which it wasn't even that much. So for people who are probably watching, they're like, oh my God, he was so horrible anyways. Honey, it would have been so much worse if I wasn't trying. Like, let me just tell you. Like, that was, like, through, like, effort. So, it's like, you really gotta look at yourself, like, a vanity era, it's like, you have to know yourself. Like, you have to know what you're capable of, what you can handle, blah, 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 and so, I definitely am team just doing recomp period because I think it is easier because you can kinda just get on that lane and you can do it. And now it can just happen really slow. So it's like, okay, so it's easier. But yeah, this cut in spring, it was not as bad as the autumn. It was definitely easier, but it was hard and I struggled a bit. I struggled especially in late April, early May. So that time I was like, "Ooh, I'm struggling. Ooh." It's like, "Ooh, this is getting hard again," you know? So it's like you have to be aware of that and just be aware that people, especially in a vanity era, they will give you 0 grace. 0 graces at all. So they will be like, "Shut up. Why are you complaining?" That's what people will think. Even if they don't say it, that's what they think. But it is what it is. In one of your videos, you mentioned doing bingo once a month while doing keto. I might be yeah, that's true. I was doing the same thinking it's not TR if I only did yeah. No, it is. It's definitely. You have to be careful, which I had a really horrible experience with keto because it's super, super easy to play into like a TR cycle because you have so much swelling when you get off and then you lose a lot of water when you get on. So those drastic swings, they can be used in a cycle really easily. And you can have like this like almost hyper stimulation with the scale and stuff. So you have to be kind of careful if you're doing that. Because you can't be in that mindset because it's like yeah, and then if you do that, I only do it once a month, it's like, well, you know, it's really harsh too. Like if you're keto and then you have like 5,000,000 carbs, it's really harsh on the body to do that. So it's very bad to do that. So yeah, I would be careful about that for sure because it's not good for you to shift that drastically because your body has to be used to eating carbs to, like, handle especially a huge amount. So if it's not, then it's really intense, but it can be a super intense like, for me, it was a very intense, like, dopamine response or, like, those types of hormones were super strong from doing it. So it's like, just do not abuse it. It's rife for that. So I'm not that's why I'm not personally a huge fan of keto, because it's also very black and white, so it's not really forgiving. So it's like if you're on it, you're on it, if you're off it, you're off it. So I'm just saying there's a lot of like TR drives in that. So obviously not everybody's in the TR, but you have to just be careful with some of the things about it because it inherently reinforces some of the aspects because ketosis is very black and white. So it's like you're in ketosis or you're not. You see? There isn't like a I'm like a semi in it or it's not really gray. It's like very strict. So you got to be careful with that basically. But I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just saying like yeah, I didn't do it right, and there's a lot of reasons for that, that people I don't think talk about or warn about because some of those things like, obviously, you can approach it with a healthy state of mind, but it's so black and white, and it's like, oh, you gotta be careful because then it's like then when you're off it, then it's like, "Well, I'm just gonna go for it," and, then you get into that, and then when you're back on it, then it's like, "Oh, this is so horrible to get back on it," and da, 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 you can really play into the drama of it. So it's like, you see what I'm saying? I feel like what I'm saying, you know, hello, bubble. It's definitely a lot of that. So you got to be careful. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with like taking days off or whatever. I think that's actually really healthy. But again, you have to understand like what you're doing and why, basically. And then you have to have a little bit of carb, not like bingo carb, because that's too much. So it has to be like, oh, I'm going to have some pasta today or something. It's like you kind of just refeed or I'm going to do my glycogen stores and then that's it, which is tricky. But yeah, I'm doing Weight Watchers /Cal and like it a lot. The Weight Watchers encourage healthier food, and then I keep an eye on the cows. I hated Weight Watchers, but I just didn't understand it, I guess. But I just went to cows. Cows worked for me. But if it works for you, it works for you. You know what I mean? I'm not here to be like, I'm not here to do that. It doesn't matter. First time seeing you live, I started at 406 and I'm currently, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Currently 187 and still working on myself to get as healthy as possible. That's amazing. Wow. Queuing Way with Words says, hey, Alex, I have learned so much about how to think through the issues. I'm now weight normalized, but still I'm getting out of that mid-sized princess mindset. Oh yeah. You will. You do have to fight it though. Like it will not just die. You have to kill it. It's like the diet culture vampire. You have to kill it. Which with that, for me, I just ate a lot of steak and then I had to take iron. I literally had to take iron pills. So arm yourself with some iron pills if you're a diet culture vampire and you're going to have to take it. And I had to take it for 6 months. I hated taking that too. I hated it. Ugh, it was horrible. I hated it. I just didn't like it because I had to time everything and it just it made an already complicated vanity process even more complicated because that just wasn't a part of my process to have to time things. So when I had to, because of the iron pills, it really pissed me off. That was part of why I was so angry in September because it was so annoying. But yeah, the mid-sized princess, it's basically purely psychological. There is a little bit of a low dopamine aspect though. Like the impatience of it is very low dough. But you have to just be like, I'm not fat. You have to tell yourself you're not fat all the time because you're not. So, and then you just get over it. And then just don't make any trauma about the downsizing process. The downsizing process, it can be hard, but it's not traumatic. So it's like, if you got other issues, then deal with those other issues. Because if you had a TR issue, you use the TR as a distraction. So it's like, I'm not going to talk about this. So I'm going to talk about my weight instead. It's that kind of thing. So that has to die. Otherwise, you'll stay a mid-sized princess because you'll have to continually talk about your weight all the time forever because you don't actually talk about real things, Because if your weight is no longer a problem, then you shouldn't be talking about it all the time. And I don't talk about mine that much at all anymore. So, because it's not a problem, it's just whatever, I don't know. It's whatever. It encourages higher fiber, higher protein, lower sugar, lower calories. So my food choices are a lot healthier. That's fair. It's definitely fair. I think it would probably work, especially in a vanity context, because that's kind of how I do within this level. Compulsive Rambler says, when you said you were getting vitamin C from not injections, no, not injections. It was, what are they? They're like these little, the glass jars. They're like shots. So I meant shot like a shot glass. You have to think more Britishy. Compulsive Rambler. I meant shot take it back. That type of shot. So it's like a vitamin C thing, which it has 200% and it has areola or not areola, I don't know, or Reali, whatever the hell it is, that cherry thing. And it was very low. Yes. So it was a lot of that because it was only 20 calories. And then I could just have Mike and Ike or something instead of fruit, So that was my thing because I was I want to have this and I got to be bumping that 365. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, certainly from the bra era on, I was I'm going to have those shots because I want to have candy, basically, instead of fruit. And now I don't really have to. Like I still have sugar, but it's like in my coffee or in something that has a little bit more substance to it. And then I don't have the dyes anymore, even though I miss them. That's what I missed. I miss those. I haven't had them all year, but I missed them because I had them on Easter because I had Peeps. But they really make me feel like I cannot focus with them at all. So it's like I don't know. That's my brain, I guess. There's something about it where it's like I almost get like high off of them or something, which is really weird, but it's not good for the activism because I can't be clear. So I can't do it anymore. Yes, that's exactly it, Bubblelandia. Queuing says, I work with a lot of clickers, so sometimes I get brought into those conversations anyway. Oh, okay. Okay, so you have like that kind of job, or you just or they're just like reinforcing. You're in like the den and there's the spores all around. Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to break out if you're always hearing it because your mind is like wanting to go there, but it's just like a mental pathway that you just have to kind of let it die. And I fought it. I fought it hard last year. I was like, I'm not doing this shit. Like literally, because I was so sick of hearing it and like other people. And then I was like literally the same. And I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I'm not going to be like this. So I fought it like every day. It took me months of fighting it. I was like, no. But it's hard because like the mid-size jealousy, the mid-size rage, the mid-size like competitiveness, the mid-size comparison, like all that stuff. It like those mindsets you have to break them. Like they're not just going to go away. Like you could hold on to that forever. And it's like you didn't downsize, I didn't downsize, so I could act like broken by it forever. It's like that is so dumb. So I was like, no, but I had to fight it. It was hard. But once you just have to literally actively fight it and then it will go away. Because it's like, no, that's stupid. No, I'm not doing that. It's like, we're not doing that. This is too much. Or I'm going to talk about the real issue. It's like, you have to kind of get in that mindset. Like, I'm going to talk about my real issues. I'm not going to talk about this. Like, this is stupid, that kind of thing. And often clickers, they have real issues that they are not wanting to talk about. So a lot of issues when they're a clicker. So they're trying to distract from so many things all the time. But a clicker is a stage 3 zombie. So somebody as far as my channel, it's somebody who has a severe TR issue. Severe. So we talk a lot about bingo. So people that are especially like very, very big, their whole life is about being fat. Their whole identity is fatness, or like not the whole identity, but like 50% of who they are is their size. And that's all they talk about all the time. And a lot of times they don't have any hobbies or interests. It's just all about food and how big they are, basically. So it's that kind of person. And then they're very reactive and they fight a lot and they don't have empathy and they're kind of, they lack perspective. So I like the metaphor because they're blind. And I do think you get very like hypohazy and you become blind to like perspective and other people's feelings. So people will accuse clickers of being narcissistic a lot because they kind of are like, but it's not like psychological, it's chemical, which that's hard for people to accept. Like I remember when I first was starting my activism, I would say like very big people tend to have less empathy. And that was something that the fat activists, they really tried to get me on that. They're like, what? That's crazy, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, for most people, they did understand what I was saying because it's like, you've experienced it. You've been around somebody like that and they never consider how you feel ever. And it's like, ever. It's like, so it resonated because I could say it because I didn't have empathy and then I did. So I know what that's like because I was a clicker And so when I wasn't anymore, my empathy returned. And so I was like, oh, I didn't have it for a few years there. It was gone. But you're just in such a survival mode that you can't, like, you're in a physical survival mode. So it's not like, it's not even really psychological, it's physical when it's that severe. So people just, they act like you can just be huge and there's no consequences on your personality. Like, that's a huge bingo lie. It's like, my size has no effect on my emotions or how I act or my personality. That's like a huge lie. Especially when you're that big and it's that severe, you don't even know who you are anymore. I say that to people, they get upset, but you don't, because it's like you're literally not yourself anymore. Like, the mid-sized princess level of severity, you are mostly yourself, but you're just like moody and competitive. So it's like moody, competitive, and patient. So it's like a more moody, a more competitive, and a more impatient version of you. That's basically what it is, but it's mostly you. So, yeah. Um, oh my gosh, your guys' usernames are killing me. Andres says, I went to watch Obsession with my friend the other day and somehow I didn't know it was a horror movie. I'm usually not easily scared, but I was. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love Nikki. Love Nikki. But it's totally different when you watch it again. The first time you watch it, you don't know what she's gonna do. And that's what's so scary. So, because it's the unpredictability of Nikki that gets you. So I loved it. Obviously, I loved it. To me, that movie is such like a it's such an attachment style issue horror movie. Basically, it's like the freaky Nikki has an anxious attachment, and then Bear has a fearful avoidant. So that's let me just say I resonated a little bit with that movie because I've had a fearful avoidant attachment. I don't anymore. But it's like you get cold, but like you're obsessed with the other person, but when it actually happens, you're like and you like freeze up. So don't be shocked if I end up being Bear for Halloween. I'll be like, we're having a nice date. We are. It's fine. It's fine. What are you doing? What? We are. That's me. But I just love the actors because his face is so expressive and she obviously gets so much love, which she totally deserves. But he does too because he's so expressive and he's so reactive to her, which it totally like feeds into her like craziness. And I think that's why people love the movie because a lot of people, especially that have those attachment issues, they see it and they're like, "Oh my god." And then, that movie is like it's like an avoidant horror movie, basically. So that movie is what every avoidant, like, especially a dismissive avoidant, they tell themselves that that's what will happen if they get in a relationship, so they don't want it. So they saw that and they're like, "Whoa." But again, I was the fearful one. So I was when you're fearful, it's like you're clingy, but not you're like hot and cold. And so, like, whereas just avoidant or dismissive avoidant, you're just cold. So it's like you're not clingy at all. You're like, get away from me, you know? But where I was more like a bear, where it's like, I want you close, but I don't. But I do, but I don't. It's that kind of thing. And then of course we love Nikki. She's just crazy and she's just gonna fight with you. That's the anxious girly. But yeah, it was very interesting psychologically. And that writing was so good. I love that movie so much because the writer was so good. Like, he really made something special with that, in my opinion. Like, I think that is, like, instant classic, basically. What did you like about Obsession the most? For me, it was hearing current Joy's songs play in the background, but they started right before the jump scare, so I just love the cinematography. I love her eyes. I love how you can see the glow in her eye and the silhouettes, and they did so many things in such a and it's so low budget, but it was so effective. It was so good because it was so creative to have her eyes like that. Like, I love the scene where she's like, "I know you like me, Bear." And she's, like, at the door, and she's standing in that dress, and she's like this, and then her eyes are glowing. It's just beautiful cinematically, like, it's just amazing. And then the weird makeup she had on, it's so good. It was so good. But, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get the exact Bear sweater, if I can do it, because I low key dress like him anyways. So I could do it. I could pull it off. I'm thin enough now. I could pull it off. I can pull off a bear for Halloween. I'll be the worst person ever. There I love how there's all these memes where they're like, you know, the worst couples ever are gonna dress up like them, and you know this and you know that. No, I know. It was good. The I don't want to say anything because I don't want to ruin anything, but it was very wow, you know. Oh my gosh. I'm just I love that movie. It made me, like, face some of my fears, I feel like. I feel like it was a catharsis. That's what you want from horror. Horror is supposed to be a catharsis. You're not supposed to take that and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna get in a relationship now because I saw that movie." That's, like, the worst take ever. That's, like, a flop, avoidant take. What you're supposed to do is watch a movie like that and then be like, "I'm not gonna make those mistakes," or, like, "I'll be okay," basically, which that's how I took it. But, yeah, I mean, people hate fearful avoidance. Like, you wanna talk, like, hate? Oh my gosh. They can't stand it, and they don't understand it because, like, when Bear was, like, his friends would say something about the relationship, and he's like and he'd get, like, this panic because it's like, "I don't believe you really love me," or, "I don't believe you're really into me." That's, like, the fearful avoidant thing. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, because it can be, like, just out of nowhere, because you can get paranoid too. And I think for again, obviously the horror movie was a horrible situation, but for the anxious person, it's like that you feel like you can't fix that. How do you deal with a random mood shift? How do you deal with that? Especially when your security's tied up in that. So it was very good, and it was done very well, even if the director didn't intend on it being that, that's what it was, and it was very well done. So, it really resonated, I could put it to you that way. But, but yeah, it's like, "You don't even like me, you don't really like me," and then he'd freak, and then she'd freak, and then it was all weird and, but that's the thing about it is, like, that's what made the writing so good because you don't know if she did or not. And a lot of people, like a lot of avoidance, they're like, "She didn't, she didn't." But even the actress herself was like, she's like, "He probably would have had a shot." Like, I don't think she was in love with him or anything, but it's just interesting. It was a good movie. But I think she probably would have given it a try type of thing. Like, she probably would have gone on a date or something, I don't think it was that deep for her. But it's just interesting. It's good, but there's, like, ambiguity in it, so I loved it because people can fight about it and stuff, but I get sick of avoidant BS online. So some of the rhetoric around the movie is really dumb and, like, I just can't. I can't. I can't. I think we have, like, a in our culture, avoidance is so glorified. There's like an over glorification of avoidance, especially dismissive avoidant. So it's like people don't like it if you have any emotion. People don't like it if you want a relationship. People don't like it if you're cringe. People don't like it if you try for something. People don't like it if you commit to a career or a person. Like, and that's very like very Gen Z. I'll put it to you that way. But it was kind of millennial too, because when we were growing up, it was like if you liked anything, you'd be attacked for it. So it's like it wasn't our natural instinct because I think a millennial's natural instinct is to be cringe, but we were always attacked for being cringe, if that makes any sense. So a lot of millennials learn to like hide things But Gen Z, they're like, "Ew, that's cringe. Ew, I don't like that. You know, they're very much like that. And they're like, I don't want a relationship and I don't want this and I don't want to learn how to drive and I don't want to do, you know, like they don't want to do anything. So it's like, okay, you're not a better person because you don't want to do anything. You know what I mean? So, anyways, that's just my personal rant there. But I guess I'm gonna go. Oh, never mind. Let me see what you say. Based on the way you describe being in the TR, I find there are a lot of parallels with someone stuck in a heavy drinking rut. Alcohol seems to. Oh yeah, 1,000%, Adam. 100,000%. It's literally the same hormonal pathways. Oh, thank you, Shay. Yeah, I don't think I am gonna go. I think I'm gonna stay actually. But anyways, because if we're gonna talk, then we're gonna talk. Yeah, so basically it has to do with especially serotonin. So obesity makes your serotonin higher. And then you can kind of get to this point where you get like a tolerance. So it's the same thing with alcohol. So alcohol makes it go up too. But if you do it too much, then it like breaks. It's like it breaks in the brain. So then you don't have any like mitigation of your cravings and stuff. And then you start to act really inappropriate. And then when you stop the TR or you stop drinking, then your serotonin comes back and then you feel ashamed. So then you experience that as shame. So it is like there's a similar quality of sobriety that happens when you get out of obesity, but it's obviously so slow and it takes like weeks and months. You know what I mean? So it isn't the same, but it is the same hormones and the same rewiring. It's just slower. Like alcohol, it's like within a day. But with obesity, it's like within months. So it's that kind of thing. So you have to think of it as like a little tiny bit every single day. It's that kind of vibe. You get me? And then the anhedonia, I think, also happens within alcoholism and within obesity. So like getting out of obesity, you'll have that same anhedonia. Like you are, I do think it's harder to notice the change for sure. And so within the obesity piece, people will often, like what I always talked about in terms of the anhedonia is it's like people just, yeah, that's true. But they cause low dopamine, but it's not really low dopamine. It's serotonin normalization in comparison to the same dopamine. And that's basically sobriety. So it's like your brain starts to perceive serotonin again. You start to feel shame. You start to feel embarrassed about what you're doing, or you feel like clear. Because even when I drank a little bit when I was in Austin last year, yeah, and it also has to be stable. So you don't want it to change a lot and you want it to be the right ratio, 100%. But like when I drank in Austin, I felt so much better. But then when I wasn't drinking anymore, then I felt so much worse than my typical baseline. So I was like, ooh, I was like, that's a huge like drive for this to be not used well, you know? So I just didn't drink anymore because I don't really like the feeling of being drunk. So it's not that hard for me, I guess, to not, because I don't like it. But I'm just I was such a TR girly pop. Like the reason I like the TR so much is being in control. So I like to be in control, or I like to have the illusion of being in control, at least. And with that, like there wasn't any illusion in comparison. But for me, it was often like to manage my emotions because they're so powerful and there's like so many of them. Which again, growing up in this avoidant, everything is cringe world and having such a pressure to be more avoidant on me, basically from birth, it's like I would feel like any and all emotion was cringe, and I was so emotional all the time. So that creates like this very weird like disconnect, basically, where I was like, ooh, you know, because it really is glorified. Like if you're like, if like people are like, don't settle down, don't do this, don't have that, don't show somebody, it's like, don't text back first or whatever, don't text back quickly because then you're a loser if you do. Like that's avoidant. Like that's avoidant bullshit. So it's like, if I were to like take up another cause, I think I would go on like an anti-avoidant rant because I'm so tired of it. Because like you just need to be secure. It's like you just need to be balanced. Like, my God, you know? Seriously. It's like work towards security and shut the fuck up. That's basically how I feel about it. But there is a lot of overlap in the TR with avoidance too, because you don't want to talk about issues. You don't want to feel emotions. You don't want to be close to people. And so I think a lot of times, like, when you are spouting fat acceptance rhetoric, it gets weirder and weirder and weirder and grosser and disgusting. And it turns into this bizarre stuff. Like when they're like, if you prefer a thin woman, you're preferring, you're a PDF or something. That's disgusting. And that is an avoidant person that's having a disgusting idea to keep people away. So it's like that is also avoidance. So it comes up a lot in the TR and it comes up a lot in my work. So I think that's also why I'm like especially fatigued by avoidant BS, because it's like I deal with it all the time. And then I have it within myself because I feel like I was just genetically more avoidant because I'm so introverted. But it's like, I'm done. I'm done. I did my time. I'm over it. I don't give a fuck anymore. But yeah, no, I agree with the alcohol too. There probably is avoidance with that too, because it's like you don't want to commit. Like if you have a fear of commitment and it doesn't make sense at all, like you might be avoidant because it's not just about relationships. It's also about like jobs too and career and like that kind of stuff or, so it's that kind of thing. But yeah, they're very similar. So I've always said that like they still function different, like alcohol and obesity, they function different because one is a substance, the other one is a state of being, but they have a similar effect. So it is weird, but they are very similar. And obviously they often overlap too, which people don't talk about the overlap that happens all the time. But that's why there is such an overlap. And so my advice is to figure out what is the bigger issue. And then if you get rid of one, truly, again, just because you downsize doesn't mean that you're out of the TR. We've made that very clear. Just look at some of the people on Ozempic, they're totally in it still. But if you actually get out of the TR, then the alcohol side will go away too, because they usually are feeding each other. And same thing, it can happen the other way. So I always just advise to find the main issue, what is really the one that you're like really obsessed with, or really like what's more important. And then you have to kill that one because when they're kind of working together, it's like a cluster F basically. So you have to find the root of like what is the actual one. And it can be really hard to tell. But for me, it was easy. I knew it was TR. And I could see like when I was MSP, when I was mid-size, I could see starting a drinking habit during that time. Like it was tempting, but I was like, no. So I didn't do it because I could literally see, oh, I could see this becoming a habit. Like if I would have been younger, it might have become a habit. But I was like mature enough where I was like, that would be really stupid to do. And it would prolong the problems because it will keep the anhedonia going longer. And people don't think about that. And when you drink a lot, you have low dopamine symptoms all the time. It can make you feel like you have ADHD. It can make you feel like you can't focus. It can make you feel like irritable all the time. Like alcoholism is not, I don't know, like, it's not it. And it is very glorified too, which is weird. But again, it's not my cause. So that's why I don't talk about it. But I'm not like a huge fan because of the overlap, because it's the same thing. Like when you quit, then everyone hates you. It's the same. So a lot of stuff is really similar. So yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Um, but yeah, so okay, do you have any advice on fixing avoidant attachment? So you have to just like understand this is so like paradoxical because again, avoidants get a lot of hate. And especially what I was fearful avoidant, they get even more hate. But you basically have to understand like you're already good enough. Like if somebody's interested in you and they're trying with you, you've already made it. You're not going to just lose it randomly out of nowhere. And then the other thing is like you have to just keep trying. So the other person doesn't expect perfection, they expect consistency. And that's the same thing like with a career. And I think that that's really hard because avoidance, it's usually like a desire for perfection, which I think why there's such an overlap with the TR because it typically comes from perfectionism. And then they also like the other person is not actually scared of how you feel. So you'll think like, if I tell them how I feel, then they'll hate me or it'll blow up, so I'll just leave. And it's like, no, that's worse. It's worse to just leave. So it's like, don't let things, don't bottle things up for so long that by the time you say something, you're going to come across as super nasty. It's like, try to deal with things as they come. And if you're dealing with somebody that has an anxious attachment, they're probably going to deal with it because they just wanna know. Their whole thing is like, "I wanna know, I wanna know, I wanna" like, they wanna know everything. So if you tell them, especially gently, especially before it, like, festers, then it's not gonna be that big of a deal. But it's like you have to, like, just it's the consistency that matters. So and then a lot of times avoidance will be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. I'm trying so hard and it's not getting anywhere." It's like, "Because this is the rest of your life, babe." If you're in a relationship with somebody, it's every single day. You're gonna be maintaining that relationship every day of your life. Like, the other person is not a robot, they're a person. So it's like you have to understand, like, that is what it is. That is the job. That is not the job, but you get what I'm saying. That's what it is. And you can also rely on help too. So asking for help when you need help, and if somebody says no or something, then you have to, like, not freak out about it. And then also, like, understand when you're anxious, you know? It's the same things, like, you have to, like, manage your anxiety because that's all it is it's anxiety, it's perfectionism, and it's like, "I'm never gonna be good enough for you." That's basically how an avoidant feels. And so it's like, you have to have enough self-esteem to be like, "I can handle criticism, and I'm not necessarily gonna change just because you criticize me, but I'm also not gonna leave." So you see? That's all it is. It's you just deal with it, and the other person will be upset or whatever, but it will pass because what they care about more than anything is that you're invested or that you wanna stay, and so people don't understand that. 'Cause avoidants think of everything, like, very black and white, like, they're just like, "I'm just the wrong person," and it's like, "No, because there is no perfect person," or, "They're just the wrong person." No, because there is no perfect person, like, there's no perfection, perfection doesn't exist. So, if it's you thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna have this problem with this person forever," yeah, and there's gonna be a problem with somebody else too. There's always gonna be a problem forever because nobody's perfect. So you're gonna have to manage conflict. That's a part of a relationship. Again, relationships are work, but so is everything. So it's like same thing with the career. Like, do you think it was always easy to be an activist? It wasn't. It was very hard a lot of the time. There were times where it was thankless. There were times where I flopped. There were times where I didn't have enough money to survive at times, and I was scared, it's like, but I stuck by it because I just kept showing up. That's what it is. It's like you just keep showing up. And that is how you solve an avoidant attachment issue, is you just keep showing up. This is what you are. This is where you're at. If it's not good enough, too bad. I'm still not leaving. You see, that's hard. So, but that's what it is, because a lot of times, at least in my case too, like I fear abandonment too, or at least I did. And so, but I have the fearful piece, so I can understand like both sides in a way. But yeah, that's how you would fix avoidant attachment. It's like manage your own anxiety, increase your capacity. So, like, if you feel like shit all the time, you need to take care of yourself, and then you might be able to handle a lot more than you think. So that's a thing too, is like just basic self-care, which a lot of avoidants, they avoid themselves too. It's like, I think that's the misconception too. Avoidant people don't just treat other people like crap, they treat themselves like crap too, because it's like they don't want to put the effort into maintaining themselves either a lot of the time. So you just have to get over it. I don't know, like that, you just have to like grow up. That's like a growing up thing. So it's like, just stop. Like life takes work. You have to like maintain your body. You have to maintain a relationship. Like you have to maintain a career. You know what I mean? Like there's routine maintenance of life, and avoidance don't like that. So that's basically the struggle, is accepting that and then not leaving just because it got hard. And that's often what people want to see. They want to see you stay even when you're struggling to stay. And a lot of avoidants are like, but they don't like, but if they see that I'm struggling, then that's horrible. And I have to get out of here. I got to run. And it's like, no, when they see you struggling to stay and you stay anyway, that's when they're actually reassured. That's the moment where they're actually like, okay, they're in this for real. So that's how you heal it, is you have to think about those things differently. So when it gets challenging, or when you're upset, or when this or when that, and you're freaking out and you want to leave and you stay anyways, that's when they're like, okay, they're really about it. It's the same thing like with the career. It's the same thing. It's when it's hard. So that's why like a lot of people say, oh yeah, they leave whenever it gets hard. Because you do. Okay, let me see. Compulsive rambler. The only year I ever got runner-ish was when I gained from mindless hedonistic or hedonic crazy in 2023, when I was also drinking. Oh yeah. I knew obesity was bad, but not that bad. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like when you drink a lot, your appetite goes way up. I mean, it's just like, because that was the other thing too. Like my appetite like went through the roof. Oh my gosh. When I was a mid-sized princess and I was drinking, I could just eat forever. And I was like, oh, that is a bad incentive. It's like, nope. No, 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 no. Um, and when there's no problems, people tend to invent problems in their minds. So people never escape. Oh, that's true too. An avoidant will make something up. So even if there's nothing wrong, the avoidant will be like, but there has to be something wrong. And it's like, no, you're just anxious. So again, it really goes into the TR a lot. I see it a lot. So I've literally even said, I'm like, I feel like avoidant attachment issues, they are a complicating factor that can make an issue severe. Like there are people with other attachment issues, like anxious, that get into the TR, but in my opinion, it tends to be a little bit more mild. When it gets real severe, it's like usually an avoidant person. Because it's like, damn, whereas I think alcohol, there's a lot of anxious people that they want to feel close to people and they want to get out and they want to do things, they call it liquid courage and, that kind of stuff. So there's more of a mix, but I think the TR, especially severe, because even if you think of it from like a reductive side, you can use what you're doing as an excuse to not go, as an excuse to, well, I'm locked in. I don't want to do that. I'm not going. So if you're like avoidant and introverted, oh my gosh, damn, you know, then it's like, boom. And that was me. So avoidant, introverted, because then you can use your size. I can't because I'm too big. I'm too big. I'm too big. I can't. So it becomes like an excuse too for why you can't do things. And then you like just talk shit about what everybody else is doing all the time. It's just bad. It's just very unpleasant. So I've actually been avoiding thinking about some personal stuff for a while, but your last video woke it all up. I relate so hard, and thank you so much for this. Oh, of course. No problem at all. I want people to get better. And again, a lot of the advice for avoidance is very judgmental because it's a lot of like anxious people that just don't get it and they just hate. And like, I need them to understand we don't get you either. I do not get anxious people at all. I'm like, what the hell? Huh? Like, how does that even get in your mind? Like, I don't even get it. I struggle, but I've been researching it a lot because I'm dealing with somebody that is anxiously attached. And it's really hard for me to understand. And I think my mom is anxiously attached too. So it's like, I was raised by that woman and I don't understand it. It's like, damn, I'm never going to get it. So I think anxious people need to understand, like, we do not understand you, period. Like, especially intuitively, like I can kind of get it because I'm literally diving deep and researching. But otherwise, I have no fucking clue where you're coming from. And most avoidant people don't. We're like, what? It's like they say something and it's like, how did you even get that? Like, what the hell? You know? So you have to be like aware of that. And so I do think the advice is really bad a lot of the time because it's not actually constructive. It's just like, let's just hate on avoidant people and call them narcissists all the time and say that they're horrible and evil. And it's like, that's not really it either. It's like, it's just, I think they're lazy. I feel like a lot of avoidants are lazy, you know? I do, because it's like, you just don't want to do the work of like maintaining a relationship. You know, not always. Could be the perfectionistic thing, but I think we have to be honest too. Sometimes there is a laziness and an entitlement, and that does exist in avoidance too, where it's like, I should be able to just do nothing and it should be fine. And it's like, no. So you have to like balance it. But yeah, the advice is kind of trash a lot of the time because people really hate avoidance a lot. And it's a lot of like bitter, anxious people that don't understand. So that's why. And then I feel bad for secure people because they're probably just like, what the actual fuck are you even talking about? You know, the secure person's favorite thing is if he wanted to, he would. That's bullshit. If he wanted to, he would if he had a secure attachment. Otherwise, no. An anxious person, they'll act like they don't give a fuck about you. Anxious people will act like all competitive and they'll be like, well, you don't like me enough. So I'm going to act like I don't like you. And I'm going to delay my text and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Because you're acting this way and you're cold to me. So then I'm going to be cold to you. Like, it's a bunch of bullshit. So no, even an anxious person, if they want to, they won't. Because they'll be like, they have too much power over me. I don't want them to know. So it's like, okay. So that's a lie. If he was secure, if he wanted to, he would, if he was secure. That's what I would say. But it's like, no, it's not always easy for everybody. And attachment style issues are somewhat common. You know, it's like a third. It's like a third of people are avoidant, a third of people are anxious, and then a third are secure. So it's like, it's common. If you're dating, you're probably going to deal with it. So anyways, the one that's weird is what I had, which is the fearful avoidant. That's not common. That's rare. So we love that. But anyways, you guys, I think I actually am going to go now. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. I do want to do a video on attachment style at some point. So it is going to come up because I think it is very Kesha era to talk about. But I will get to that much later once I've come to some conclusions because my God, I'm still in the thick of it. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you later. Bye.